Okay, we have all been there. You're in a meeting, maybe at a party, and all of a sudden, every single eye in the room is on you. Someone asks you a question, and your mind just goes completely blank. Well, today, we're going to fix that. We're going to talk about how to think faster and talk smarter so you can walk into any situation and handle it with total confidence. You know that feeling, right? That spotlight just hits you, and bam, your palms get sweaty, your heart starts pounding, and it feels like your brain is just stuffed with cotton. It could be a professor calling on you in class, your boss hitting you with a surprise question, or heck, even being asked to give a last-minute wedding toast. That feeling is just universally awful. But you know what? It really doesn't have to be.
And hey, if you feel this way, you are in very, very good company. Research actually shows that a crazy 85% of us get nervous in these high-stakes moments. It's totally normal. It's this primal, deep-seated fear of being judged by the group. So the next time you feel that little bit of panic creep in, just remember, you're not broken, you're just human. And here's the interesting part. We spend hours, sometimes days, preparing for big, formal presentations. But if you think about it, most of our communication, the stuff that really matters, is completely spontaneous. It's the Q&A after the big talk, the quick chat in the hallway, giving unexpected feedback. Those are the moments that actually define our reputations, and we almost never practice for them.
But here's the good news. Speaking on the spot isn't some kind of magic talent you're either born with or you're not. Nope, it's a skill. And like any other skill, you can learn it. So today, we're going to break down a really simple but incredibly powerful methodology that comes straight out of Stanford. It's going to give you the tools to not just survive these moments, but to actually shine in them.
So our journey to becoming a better spontaneous speaker doesn't start with what we say. It actually starts inside our own heads. We're going to tackle this in a few parts, and we're starting with the big one, mastering your mindset. Because let's be real, if you can't get a handle on your anxiety is going to get a handle on you. I want you to think about anxiety like it's a fire. You've got the flames, that's the physical stuff, right? The racing heart, the sweaty palms. And then you have the fuel. Those are the psychological triggers, like the fear of being judged. To put the fire out, you've got to deal with both. So let's start with cooling down those flames.
Here are 3 super simple, super quick tricks you can use. First, take a deep belly breath. Seriously, try it with me. Breathe in for 4 seconds. And now breathe out for 8. That long exhale literally tells your nervous system, hey, we can calm down now. Second, if you get a dry mouth, a little sip of warm water works way better than cold. And third, if you feel yourself getting flushed or sweaty, just holding something cold, like a water bottle, can work wonders. It's your own little secret weapon.
Okay, now for the fuel. And this is going to sound a little weird, but stick with me. I want you to give yourself permission to be mediocre. I know, that goes against everything we're taught. But think about it this way. When you're first learning to drive a car, you're not trying to be a Formula One racer, right? You're just trying not to hit the curb. It's the same with speaking. The moment you stop trying to be absolutely perfect, you free up all this mental energy to actually be pretty great. This brings us to probably the single most important mindset shift you can make. Are you seeing this conversation as a threat or as an opportunity? Because if you see it as a threat, your brain goes into fight or flight. You get defensive, your answers get short. But if you see it as an opportunity, an invitation to connect, everything changes. You get curious, you become collaborative. It's a tiny shift in perspective that makes a world of difference. So, how do we actually do that? How do we build this opportunity mindset? Well, here's tool number 1, the power of 2 little words, not yet. This comes from the incredible work on growth mindset. So, when you mess up, you don't say, I'm a failure. You just tell yourself, I haven't quite figured this out yet. See that? It turns a brick wall into an open road. Our second tool comes from the world of improv comedy, and it's fantastic. It's called Yes and. Instead of disagreeing with someone, which just shuts down the conversation, you accept what they said. That's the yes, and then you build on it. That's the and. So if a coworker says, this project deadline is totally impossible, you don't argue. You say, yes, it is a huge challenge. And I think if we can get the first piece done today, we'll be in a much better spot. It just instantly turns conflict into collaboration. Tool number 3 is borrowed from the world of sports. Next play. Think about a basketball player who misses a free throw. Do they stand there feeling sorry for themselves? No way. They're immediately hustling back on defense. It's the same in a conversation. If you say something a little awkward or stumble over a word, don't get stuck on it. Just tell yourself next play and move on.
What's done is done.
And our final tool is a reframe I absolutely love. Instead of seeing mistakes, see them as missed takes. Think about it. In Hollywood, when an actor messes up a line, the director doesn't yell, "You failed." They just say, "Cut, let's do another take." That's how you should treat your own conversational slip-ups. They're not failures. They're just missed takes. You're the director. You can always go again. Okay, so we've worked on taming our anxiety. We've got our mindset right. Now it's time to actually figure out what to say. Welcome to part 2, crafting your message. Because it's one thing to feel calm and confident, but you also need to sound clear and compelling. And don't worry, there's a simple formula for that too.
So what's the secret to sounding smart when you're put on the spot? It's all about structure. Our brains just are not wired to remember a random list of facts. It's like having a tour guide who just kind of points around and says, that's a building and there's a tree. You'd be totally lost and bored, right? A great speaker, just like a great tour guide, takes you on a journey. And that journey needs a beginning, a middle, and an end.
And here it is. This is your go-to all-purpose structure for pretty much any spontaneous speaking situation. Just remember these 3 questions. What, so what, and now what? The what is your main point. Get right to it. The so what is why your audience should even care. And the now what is what happens next. Your call to action. It's simple, it's powerful, and it is a foolproof way to organize your thoughts in a flash.
This leads to a really crucial piece of advice, captured in this great saying, "Tell me the time, don't build me the clock." We often think we need to give all this background in detail to prove we know what we're talking about, but really, we just end up overwhelming people. In today's world, being concise is a superpower. Your job isn't to show all your work, it's to give the answer clearly and quickly.
And to help you stay focused and brief, just remember this 3-part goal. You can think of it as head, heart, and hands. For the head, what's the one piece of information I need them to know? For the heart, how do I want them to feel? Excited? Concerned? Motivated? And for the hands, what do I actually want them to do after this? Answering these 3 questions before you speak gives you a crystal clear roadmap. All right, we have covered a ton of ground, but we're not quite done, because knowing all this stuff is one thing, actually putting it into practice is another. In this final part, we're going to talk about how you turn these ideas into real, lasting habits. Because becoming a great spontaneous speaker isn't a one-time fix, it's a practice. So, how do you get better? It really comes down to these 3 things: repetition, reflection, and feedback. First, repetition. You gotta get the practice in. So try to have just one low-stakes, spontaneous conversation every day for a week. Second, reflection. After each one, take 30 seconds and ask yourself, what went well there? What could I try differently next time? And finally, feedback. Find someone you trust and just ask them for their honest thoughts. It's that simple. So here's my challenge to you. I want you to stop seeing these spontaneous moments as a scary test and start seeing them as a playground, a place where you can experiment, have a little fun, and grow. So my final question for you is this. What's one conversation you're going to have this week where you make the choice to see it not as a threat, but as an opportunity? The choice, as they say, is all yours.